Amusement parks have become the go-to for family fun all over the world. From the massive parks like Disneyland and Universal Studios, to themed parks like Hershey World or Nickelodeon Universe. One of the favorites amongst Americans is the beach amusement park. You can visit places like the Santa Monica Pier in California or Wildwood in New Jersey for a fun day of rides, games, and playing in the ocean. Most people have a blast at an amusement park with everything they have to do. Sometimes, though, it all gets burned to the ground. Coney Island is a well-known amusement area on the southwest end of Long Island in New York. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Coney Island isn't actually an island, and you would be correct today, but it used to be an island. We can trace the origins of Coney Island back to the 17th century when Dutch officials offered a group of English religious dissenters led by Lady Moody the opportunity to establish a colony at Gravesend near the beach in 1645. That settlement was strategically placed to serve as a buffer between the Dutch and the local Native Americans who frequented the area to collect clams and wampum. The Dutch assured Lady Moody that the local Indians posed no threat as they primarily used the ocean front as a refuge for women and children. Lady Moody guided the colony to Gravesend along tolerant and almost socialist lines during its first 16 years. The town was laid out with each of the 39 original settlers receiving an equal share of land inside the palisade and a corresponding segment of farmland outside. That early settlement laid the foundation for what would eventually become one of the world's most famous summer playgrounds. The transformation of Coney Island into a seaside retreat began in earnest during the 19th century. In 1829, a significant development occurred when a shell road was constructed across the creek that separated Coney Island from the mainland. Along with the road, the Coney Island House Hotel was built, signaling the start of the summer resort business in the area. As transportation improved, Coney Island became more accessible to visitors. In 1847, a small side-wheeler steamer began bringing visitors from Manhattan to a pier in Gravesend Bay. That boat trip, which cost only 50 cents, reduced travel time to a mere 2 hours, making Coney Island a more attractive destination for day trippers and vacationers alike. The 1870s and 1880s saw a rapid expansion of amusements and attractions on Coney Island. In 1871, Charles Feltman, who had invented the hot dog several years earlier, subleased a small plot of land and began selling his creation. His success led him to lease his own shore lot at West 10th Street, where he built the Ocean Pavilion. By 1878, Feltman had constructed a 100-foot or 30-meter long iron pier with space for 1,200 bath lockers and various game and food stands. Another significant development came in 1875 when William Vanderveer installed Coney Island's first carousel. That marked the beginning of the mechanical amusements that would come to define Coney Island. The introduction of those attractions set the stage for amusement parks that would make Coney Island famous in the coming decades. The 1880s saw the emergence of luxurious hotels catering to the upper classes. The Manhattan Beach Hotel, Hotel Brighton, and Oriental Hotel opened their doors, while smaller hotels sprouted along the beach in central Coney Island. Those establishments, along with the growing number of attractions, solidified Coney Island's reputation as a premier resort destination. Steeplechase Park, founded by George Tilyou in 1897, was the longest-lived of the 3 great amusement parks at Coney Island. Tilyou's vision for Steeplechase was simple yet effective: make people laugh and they will come back. Unlike its more extravagant counterparts, Steeplechase focused on simple group rides and slapstick activities that had lower maintenance costs and didn't need frequent revamping. That business model proved successful, allowing Steeplechase to survive for nearly 7 decades. The park's centerpiece was the Pavilion of Fun, a massive indoor amusement area that played a significant role in Steeplechase's longevity. The park offered well-maintained gardens, picnic areas, and live music, creating a family-friendly atmosphere that contrasted with the more raucous parts of Coney Island. The introduction of combination tickets made it easier for visitors to enjoy multiple attractions, further enhancing the park's appeal. Luna Park, which opened in 1903, revolutionized the concept of amusement parks. It quickly became a symbol of Americans' increasing pride and a top getaway destination. The park featured a variety of attractions and exotic landscaping, all illuminated by electricity at night. Its flagship ride, A Trip to the Moon based on Jules Verne's novel, captured the imagination of visitors. Luna Park's success was due in part to its innovative design and constant introduction of new attractions. The park's creators, Frederick Thompson and Elmer Dundee, spent $700,000 rebuilding and expanding the park. That investment paid off as Luna Park recovered 90% of its construction costs less than 3 months after its grand opening. In the summer of 1903, just months after Luna Park's grand opening, former State Senator William H. Reynolds set his sights on creating a rival amusement park. Reynolds, uniquely positioned for that challenge, announced plans to build a hippodrome that would surpass Luna Park in every way. His vision quickly took shape, and by August 18, 1903, the Wonderland Company was incorporated with a staggering capital of $1.2 million. Reynolds' strategy was straightforward yet ambitious. He aimed to create a park that would not only match Luna Park's attractions but exceed them in scale and grandeur. That approach, while logical, came with an astonishing price tag. While Luna Park had advertised a construction cost of $1.5 million, Reynolds boldly claimed a $3.5 million investment for his park. Dreamland opened its gates to the public on May 14, 1904, after an incredibly swift construction period of less than 6 months. The park's centerpiece was its awe-inspiring 375-foot or 115-meter beacon tower, which dominated Coney Island's skyline and was one of the tallest structures in the United States at the time. Adorned with 100,000 electric lights, it was a sight to behold, especially when approached by steamboat. Dreamland's architectural magnificence was evident in its 25,000-square-foot ballroom, the largest in the world at the time. The park also featured a private beach, a circus, and a massive restaurant, truly embodying a full-fledged amusement resort. The park boasted a plethora of attractions designed to captivate and entertain visitors. The Leapfrog Railway, a unique ride on its own pier with a track leading to nowhere. Fighting the Flames, a thrilling reenactment of fire and rescue scenarios. Coasting Through Switzerland, a miniature replica of Switzerland offering a taste of alpine adventure. Bostock Animal Arena, home to some of the finest wild animal acts in the world. There was also a display of baby incubators, an exhibit established by Dr. Martin Arthur Cooney, a pediatrician from Paris, showing off the tiniest of babies being treated in the amazing machines. Dreamland's creation marked the beginning of a fierce rivalry with Luna Park. Reynolds' strategy was to outdo Luna Park in every aspect. Dreamland boasted 1 million lights compared to Luna's 250,000. Beacon Tower was nearly twice as tall as Luna's tower, which was only 200 feet or 60 meters. And they even had a bigger shoot-the-chutes ride with 2 ramps instead of 1. To ensure no customer would prefer Luna over Dreamland, Reynolds made sure to replicate and improve upon all of Luna Park's popular attractions. He even went as far as establishing a fleet of steamships to bring visitors directly to Dreamland's waterfront entrance at Dreamland Pier. The competition between the two giants defined the golden age of amusement parks. Both parks engaged in a constant battle for supremacy, not just on Coney Island, but in the broader world of entertainment. That rivalry drove innovation and spectacle, with each park trying to outdo the other with new and exciting attractions. As Dreamland geared up for its 1911 season, the park underwent significant changes. Dreamland's manager, Samuel Gumpertz, who would later become the director of the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, took over as the park's top executive. Under his leadership, Dreamland embarked on an ambitious renovation project. The park's appearance got a major overhaul. The buildings, which were previously all white to give an air of elegance, were repainted in vibrant colors. Near the Surf Avenue entrance, structures were demolished to make way for a new lighting plant that would add 130,000 additional light bulbs to the park's already dazzling display. Several popular attractions were expanded and improved. The Great Divide, Canals of Venice, Tub Ride, and Hellgate all saw enlargements. The ballroom and restaurant were relocated from the pier to an area near the Surf Avenue entrance, while the old ballroom site was converted into a skating rink. The bathing pavilion on the ocean also underwent significant expansion. Dreamland introduced 30 new shows for the 1911 season. Those included Joseph Ferrari's Animal Show, a biblical-themed attraction called The Sacrifice, and a village of human curiosities. The park also added a miniature subway circling the grounds, a carousel, and a dual-tracked roller coaster. Behind the scenes, Dreamland was grappling with significant financial challenges. The park's ambitious strategy to outdo Luna Park had led to a precarious financial situation. Dreamland's total debt amounted to $1.9 million, consisting of a $400,000 mortgage at a 5.5% interest, $750,000 in 10-year secured mortgage and income gold bonds at 6% interest, and $750,000 of unsecured gold bonds at 6% interest. Those debts resulted in substantial annual interest payments. Before September of 1906, Dreamland faced yearly interest payments totaling $67,000. After that date, when the unsecured bonds kicked in, that amount jumped to $112,000. The mortgage likely also required principal payments, further straining the park's cash flow. William Reynolds, Dreamland's founder, had initially reinvested all of the park's receipts, believing that triumph over Luna Park was just one more hit attraction away. As Dreamland struggled with its financial obligations, maintenance issues began to surface. Despite the implementation of fire safety regulations in certain areas of Coney Island following a major blaze in 1902, those regulations were not extended to Dreamland. That oversight left the park highly vulnerable to fire. The Hellgate attraction, a boat ride through dimly lit caverns, had sprung a leak during a trial run just days earlier. In the early morning hours of May 27, 1911, as workers from a roofing company attempted to caulk the leak with tar, the overhead light bulbs began to flicker and pop. In an instant, darkness engulfed the area and chaos ensued. In the pitch-black confusion, a worker accidentally kicked over a bucket of bubbling tar. The combination of hot pitch and electrical sparks proved catastrophic. The light bulbs exploded, igniting the flammable materials and setting the Hellgate attraction ablaze. James Lillis, the night watchman, spotted the orange glow emanating from Hellgate. He rushed to the administration building, sounding the alarm at 1:58 a.m. The fire bells rang out, alerting the nearby fire station on West 8th Street, a mere 100 yards from Dreamland. The fire quickly spiraled out of control, fueled by a perfect storm of conditions. Strong ocean winds fanned the flames, causing them to spread rapidly throughout the park. The wooden structures and flammable materials that made up much of Dreamland's attractions provided ample fuel for the inferno. As the fire grew, it created a spectacle of destruction. The park reverberated with the sounds of exploding shells from burning shooting galleries and the popping of hundreds of thousands of light bulbs. Flaring embers carried by the updraft threatened nearby structures, including the baby incubator building and the Dreamland power plant. The New York Fire Department faced an unprecedented challenge that night. The Dreamland fire marked the first double 9-alarm fire they had ever fought in Brooklyn. That highest level of alarm summoned fire companies from across the borough. Battalion Chief William Rogers, upon arriving at the scene, immediately called for a second alarm. As the situation escalated, Fire Chief Kenlin issued a double 9 alarm, mobilizing every available fire company in Brooklyn. However, the firefighters' efforts were hampered by a critical issue. extremely low water pressure. The pumping station, capable of supplying water at 150 pounds per square inch, had seen pressure drop to a mere 35 pounds per square inch. With 33 fire companies responding from as far as 8 miles away, the FDNY mustered over 400 firefighters to battle the blaze. Despite their best efforts, the fire's intensity and the low water pressure made it impossible to enter the park. The firefighters' battle against the inferno reached its climax at 3:10 a.m. when the Dreamland Tower, which had been burning for 30 minutes like a candle above a fiery hell, came crashing down in a spectacular fiery collapse. That marked a turning point in the firefight as efforts shift from extinguishing the blaze to controlling its spread. By 3:30 a.m., all of Dreamland's attractions were engulfed in flames. It wasn't until 4 a.m. that water pressure returned to normal, but by then, most of the park had already been consumed by the fire. Finally, at 5 a.m., after a grueling 3-hour battle, the firefighters managed to extinguish the last of the flames, bringing an end to one of Coney Island's most devastating nights. The fire left a trail of devastation in its wake. The inferno consumed nearly all structures within the park, causing an estimated damage of between $2.25 and $5 million. That would be between $70 and $150 million today. That staggering financial blow was compounded by the fact that much of the property was uninsured. The human cost was equally significant. In the aftermath, 1,600 Dreamland employees found themselves suddenly jobless. The fire's reach extended beyond the park's boundaries, destroying about 200 buildings in the surrounding area, including booths, restaurants, hotels, and various entertainment venues. That broader destruction left an additional 900 people unemployed, bringing the total number of job losses to 2,500. In the fire's immediate aftermath, William Reynolds announced that he would not rebuild the park. That decision was likely influenced by the park's pre-existing financial troubles. The fire's financial impact was further complicated by insurance issues. With little of the loss insured, the owners of Dreamland suffered a devastating $3.5 million setback. That lack of comprehensive insurance coverage left the park's investors, including notable figures like G.F. Dobson, William Engman, Timothy Big Tim Sullivan, and Arnold Rothstein, facing significant losses. The fire sparked numerous theories and controversies, with some suspecting foul play. While the official narrative pointed to an accidental fire caused by a worker kicking over a bucket of hot tar, skeptics questioned whether there might have been more sinister motives at play. The park's financial troubles and the timing of the fire, occurring just after the start of Dreamland's 8th season, fueled speculation about potential arson. Adding to the suspicions was the fact that fire safety regulations implemented in certain areas of Coney Island after a major blaze in 1902 had not been extended to Dreamland. That oversight left the park highly vulnerable to fire, raising questions about why such crucial safety measures were not in place. One of the most controversial aspects of the Dreamland fire was the inexplicable drop in water pressure that hampered firefighting efforts. Initially, the cause of that pressure drop remained a mystery. However, it was later discovered that panicked merchants in the area had tapped into the fire hydrant lines to protect their own properties from flying embers. That unauthorized use of the water system effectively crippled the firefighters' efforts to save Dreamland. Adding another layer to the controversy, it was revealed years later that Dreamland had been consuming millions of gallons of unmetered water from the fire hydrant lines under West 8th Street. That discovery raised questions about the park's water usage practices and their potential impact on the area's water infrastructure. Perhaps the most intriguing controversy surrounding the Dreamland fire revolves around the actions of William Reynolds, the park's owner. Just 2 days after the devastating fire, Reynolds proposed selling the Dreamland site to the New York City government for a fair price. That swift move to offload the property raised eyebrows and led to speculation about Reynolds' motivations. The proposal led to a series of negotiations and legal disputes. The New York City Board of Estimate initially considered buying the site in mid-June of 1911 and voted to acquire it via condemnation at the end of July. By October, a revisited proposal was approved, with the city agreeing to pay $1 million for a 7-acre site, excluding the northernmost 200 feet of Dreamland's property on Surf Avenue. However, legal challenges quickly arose over the property's title, with the Morey and Lott families claiming ownership based on a quitclaim deed. A man named Nicholas Johnson had agreed to sell the lot to two families despite not having any legal right to do so. Eventually, a judge dismissed the lawsuit brought on by the Morey and Lott families, and the city took title to the Dreamland site in March of 1912. Further fueling suspicions was Reynolds' history of political maneuvering. It was noted that Reynolds had previously used his political connections to resolve issues related to Dreamland's construction, such as the closure of West 8th Street. His ability to influence local boards and secure favorable decisions had already raised questions about his methods and motivations. The controversy deepened when it was revealed that Reynolds had testified years later that the original purchase price for Dreamland had been exorbitant. That admission, made in an attempt to minimize his real estate tax assessment, cast doubt on the financial foundations of the entire Dreamland venture. As investigations into the fire and its aftermath continued, the intertwining of business interests, political connections, and questionable practices painted a complex picture of the events surrounding Dreamland's demise. The theories and controversies that emerged in the wake of the fire continue to fascinate historians and Coney Island enthusiasts to this day. The Great Depression would go on to have a profound impact on Coney Island, transforming it into the Nickel Empire. Despite the economic hardships, it remained a popular destination for those with limited means to have a good time. The mass market forced price scales downward, with 50-cent rides becoming a quarter rides becoming 15 cents, and 10-cent rides becoming a nickel. That shift in pricing had a significant effect on businesses, particularly shooting galleries and freak shows, which struggled to attract customers during those tough times. Today, the iconic destination continues to attract millions of visitors annually, offering a unique blend of nostalgia and modern entertainment. The controversies surrounding the fire, from suspicions of arson to questionable business practices, continue to spark interest and debate amongst historians and enthusiasts. While Dreamland's fiery demise marked the end of an era, it also paved the way for new developments and a reimagining of Coney Island's entertainment scene. The legacy of Dreamland lives on, serving as a reminder of the golden age of amusement parks and the ever-changing nature of public entertainment. Thanks for letting us tell you this sinister story. If you enjoyed it, subscribe on whatever platform you're on, and hit like, rate it, or leave a comment. Join us next week when we'll take you somewhere sinister.